environment and what has been constructed there was always of interest to me. So there I was at Radcliffe, and I did architectural sciences as a college student, and that was preparing one to go to graduate school in architecture. So I had the math, I had the physics, I had this and that. I took a number of courses from Seckler and Gideon.
Okay.
And that was very, very
Though both of those
good.
were memorable.
Yes. Seckler's was great. And, of course, I had taken some fine arts courses because I changed my major. I also took some abstract studio courses with Mirko. And the time was not at the Carpenter Center, it was down on the river. They were discussing the Carpenter Center at that time. So that solidified my idea that I'd go into architecture, and I felt it was certainly less frivolous than fashion. We would hope it would remain that way. We're not always too sure. And that satisfied my need to do something, be somebody, to accomplish things, and to contribute. Why I went to the GSD? Well, it seemed logical. I was at Harvard College.
Right, you're exposed to it.
So I seemed to me, well, I'll just apply and go on to graduate school. I had no idea that people didn't get accepted. And I was shocked when I talked to one of my classmates, and he said he had not been accepted. Oh, well, I kept quiet after that. So I was accepted, and it seemed logical since I had done the preparation to go to the GSD. So that's how I got to the GSD.
Great. Do you have any specific courses that stand out in your mind? Maybe a course from Seckler? Or topics that were passionate? All of them.
Absolutely. It was his approach to architectural history and historical design as an architect, which was far different from somebody who is not an architect, who deals in art history, and that's what they're still doing, the history of art and architecture. Yeah. I just went to a lecture given by somebody from the former Fall. And again, all I could think of was, you've lost the point of the whole discussion. That they don't understand, they can't think of it as an object or a building that's used, that is occupied, that is constructed, that is part of the urban fabric. They don't understand that, to my mind, fully. And it's almost Seckler, who was trained as an architect, did practice architecture, and was a very thoughtful, intelligent person, was able to do that. Of course, I had Space, Time, and Architecture by Gideon, and Siegfried Gideon, and that was always interesting and amusing. Some people could do his accent very well. So those two really helped. And also some of the other people, my advisors and so forth. But I'll get to that later.
Great. So, and do you remember, did you two meet when you were at the GSD?
No.
No, you did not.
Definitely not.
You were there. So Doris, knowing that you are both kind of contributing your archives, donating them to the Loeb Library, I'm wondering, does the library hold any kind of special meeting? Do you have any memories of going through the archives in the library when you were both at Robinson?
I remember the library in Robinson Hall. It was a small room with heavy tables in it and a lot of books. I did not use the library at Robinson Hall when I was an undergraduate taking courses, which were graduate courses.
Right.
I guess I purchased the books myself, The library is small, and when I was in graduate school at the GSD, it was in Robinson Hall, but people would just wander in to look at the magazines and so forth. However, across from the library, which I remember very much, there was this old wood door, and you'd open it and go up this little staircase, and when I got up there would be Professor Newton. Norman Newton. He was my advisor in college. So what did I met him a few times. He was a very nice person. I felt that he took me seriously, and I did not feel diminished by him and his attitude. Anyway, what he had, which was the most impressive thing, which is now part of the Loeb Library, were his sketchbooks that he had done when he was in Italy as a young man. I think he had one of those Fulbrights or Rome Prize.
He had a Rome Prize.
Prize. So he had these little notebooks, and he showed them to me. And there were these beautiful, beautiful sketches of the various villas and gardens that he had visited and studied when he was there. That's what impressed me, and that's what I remember about the library in Robinson Hall.
But that's kind of that's such a nice story that was some of your inspiration, and I'm sure that there's students that will be going to look at your library and at your archive and feeling some of that inspiration.
I could hope so.
Yes. Great. And Hal, do you have any memories from the library at all?
Not offhand.
No, okay, no problem.
Well, when you see...
But what was most important was the whole program of concern for architecture and landscape architecture in the program. And that is that we were concerned with doing not only the buildings, but the surroundings of the buildings.
Yes.
And
Question 4, you didn't ask us. What is the most significant thing you learned
while
while
at the GSD? Yeah, would you like to segue into that? Yes.
Yeah. So the concern was that it was a program that involved landscape architecture as well as architecture.
Okay, so it wasn't like it is today where it's two separate programs that coordinate. It was one program that you studied some of both.
Yes.
But he was in the studio. He was in the master studio for 1 year.
Okay.
Under Cert, Jose Luis Cert. And that is what was done in that studio, was the architecture, landscape, urban design.
Okay. Oh,
that's
all
what
three.
was
Okay.
That's what the project were.
Thank you for that clarification. That's great.
Complete, broad study of a variety of activities that involved not only the architecture, but it was the architecture as well as landscape architecture and urban design.
And so that was your first opportunity. You had studied architecture, but that was your first opportunity for landscape and urban design.
Yes. That's when my opportunity broadened considerably to include landscape architecture as well as architecture and urban design. Right. And that's when and Cert became the professor we were primarily devoted to him and his activities of urban design. And he understood that there was a more serious breadth of study than just architecture and the architecture of carpenters.
Yeah.
that